welcome everybody to episode 3 of the No Name Fit Game. I'm Andrew Ember, and alongside me, as always, Elliot Brownstein. How's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Can't complain. And we actually have a guest host this week. He's our first guest ever, and he's going to be sticking with us throughout. Calle Alexander. Calle, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
So, Elliot, bad news. This is actually an audition for your job.
Oh, what the hell? That's not fair. We're only 3 episodes in.
I figured we'd break it to you kind of, gently like that.
Oh, yeah, very gently, abruptly, more than anything.
Only 30 seconds into the show. I wanted to give you time to warm up.
Third
today.
episode, 30 seconds in, I'm out.
Call to the bullpen. AT&T, call to the bullpen. Pull him. All right, so obviously this is a fitness, health, wellness podcast, so it's only right, I think, that we start this week with a related topic, aliens.
Okay.
Because if you have been not under a rock and paying attention to anything on social media, I think everyone's been seeing this Area 51 craze.
Yeah, you got to get your cardio up for that.
Yeah. So I figured we'd just quickly go around the table here. I'm curious how you would storm Area 51. What would be your strategy?
I'd run in the other direction. I'm not storming that place at all.
Oh, so you're out.
Oh, I'm out. Yeah, no way.
You're out before it starts.
Oh, yeah. Unless I see someone else, like breaking in and they're doing okay, I'm not chancing that.
So you're open, though, to it.
Yeah, why not? I'm open for anything. I don't mind opening doors. I just, when
You're
know
not
that
be
there's
first.
when there's guns blaring on the other side of the door, that's when I don't open the door.
So you're not going to be first, but if it's going well, you might join for some of the loot.
Right, that's like a house party you don't know of, and you go there. You're not going to go there unless you know somebody that you know is in there.
Sure,
right?
I'll sit in my car for 2 hours if I have to wait for someone to arrive that I know.
Exactly, because I'm not going to be like, hey, this is the party, right? Boom, you get shot right in the head. You weren't welcome here.
That's not a bad thought. What about you, Kai? What's your thoughts here on Area 51?
I'd rather just watch and see if anybody else goes in there. Like, I'm not going in.
So we have
no
leaders.
interest.
No leaders here. No one's going to be the first one to bang the doors down.
Not for that. No,
Yeah.
there's no leadership here.
I'm inclined to agree. Yeah, but what do you think? So let's say there are aliens here in Area 51. This whole thing is not a hoax. You think they're friend or foe?
Probably foe.
You think they're here to take us out?
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Very, right?
Well, I mean, humans are already like that, so
That's true.
why wouldn't the aliens
If
be?
humans are taking each other out through war and other acts of violence, do you think the aliens are going to be? I think the aliens might be better, to be honest.
It depends. If they're smarter than us, it could go either way.
True.
It could be more of a foe. But if they're dumber than us, like they're animals, then I think they're probably more friend.
Now, see, that's a fascinating. I didn't even think of that. So, would an alien be more like a house cat, or would it be like the most?
Yeah, exactly.
I like how you
evil
called
of all
animals
time?
dumb just now, though. I was like,
What happened?
You just called
I
animals
think
dumb.
we're
dumber than us.
Comparatively,
Yeah.
We
Okay.
love animals.
Yeah.
We absolutely love animals.
And we have thumbs, so that's a
Yeah,
plus.
Like, we build technology and stuff. They can't are they like those type of animals, like
Right.
house pets? Like, is that their level of intelligence?
I mean,
Or is it
Mufasa died because he had
or,
no
they
thumbs.
or can they time travel and they have spaceships and stuff like we create them to be on in movies and stuff? you
Right.
know?
I'm inclined to believe that if aliens do exist, they are very intelligent, more
Okay.
than us. That would be my
Then
guess.
that's a higher chance of them being a foe, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would say they're more intelligent because they actually got to us and we didn't get to them.
Well,
a
we
great
don't know
point.
that. Maybe
Right.
we got to them on Mars or the moon. And
Oh.
Ooh, we brought back
Controversy.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 50 years since the moon landing, and now we're bringing back aliens.
That'd be a good, anniversary gift, right? Here's your alien.
I think so.
I just think of the SpongeBob scene where they're carrying out the alien, him and Patrick, or they visit the moon or whatever, and they're carrying aliens on their back. Alien hunting. Yeah.
Whenever I think of aliens, though, I think of Independence Day. What would be
Of
your
course.
favorite alien movie? Like,
Independence Day, for sure. Yeah.
what about you?
Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo.
Aliens.
That's a fantastic answer.
Scooby Doo and the Attack of the Alien
the
Invasion.
cartoon version where they had I don't know what it's called.
One of the
but-
many movies they've had.
Yeah,
that
one of the
there's
cartoon
aliens.
versions there was an alien in there. I really like that one.
I recall that. I remember that, actually.
I didn't expect that as an answer.
I wasn't either, but it caught me off guard, but I like it.
I like Scooby Doo growing up.
Scooby-Doo's
Can
a
I
great
say?
show.
I used to hate Scooby Doo.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, because I would watch so much of it, and I
you
would
got
just
tired
Andrew,
of it,
fire
yeah.
him now.
Well, you're already taking over, so
Yeah.
audition's complete. You're out.
5 minutes in, I'm out.
It's a new record, though. No, there were a lot of good shows. That's what I mostly feel bad for this generation is the cartoons are just not the same. We grew up with
Oh yeah, I agree.
Hey Arnold, Rocko's Modern Life,
my gosh.
Angry Beavers, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Johnny Bravo,
Yeah,
Powerpuff Girls.
I
We have
hated
Dude,
Johnny Bravo.
I love
Hated
everything you just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my
those were the good
Dexter's
old days.
Laboratory. Right?
Oh, man.
Dexter's Laboratory was great.
Bring me back.
There are a couple good cartoons out there though, because I have to watch cartoons because I have a
'cause your
kid.
son,
So
yeah.
but like Amazing World of Gumball, that's like on the edge of like Rocko's Modern Life and like edgy stuff.
Yeah,
Really?
I've caught a few, Adventure Time and regular shows, stuff like that. In
Yeah,
this
regular
generation.
show. Oh my God,
They had
that
some
is a
decent
good
stuff,
one.
But
That
for
is
the
a good one.
most part, they don't quite have what we just had. It was blocks. It was all day marathons of this stuff because there were just so
Yeah.
many good shows. Everything we had
Real
was
Scary
fantastic.
Monsters was another one.
Real
Did you-
Monsters, right?
Yes.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
Cat dog.
Doug. Cat Dog, yes, I remember
I
that
love
one.
that
That was
one.
my favorite.
Oh,
My
man.
favorite episode is when they hated each other and they were just like separating all around the world.
Yep.
I was like, this is so impossible, but I love it.
Classic Cat Dog.
That's funny.
Oh man, where else are you gonna get Cat Dog talk than on the No Name Fit game?
Nowhere. Nobody else will mention
No one
that.
knows.
Stuck in the archives.
It's actually really good timing because it's Comic-Con also heading on in San Diego. It's something I always wanted to go to, but
Head
I've
over
never
there.
been. Hey, just jump a plane and get on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Doug Plagans is over there in California going to Warp Tour. Why can't you go to Comic-Con?
That's right. It's gonna happen at some point for sure.
You better.
Just not this year.
I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
That's it.
San Diego.
All right. Let's hit it. Absolutely.
Where do you love?
San Diego.
Oh, okay.
It's German.
Making sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. This is a fitness podcast and general health and wellness, so we do have to reel it back in every
You
now
know
and
what?
then.
This does have to do with mental health, though.
Oh, for sure.
Because we're reminiscing on good times, right?
yeah, I'm
That's mental clarity
Getting
for
that
us.
serotonin in my head right now.
Yes.
Remembering all this stuff. You
Yes.
know? So.
We're
Exactly.
kicking it
Or
back.
dopamine. I don't know which one. I think both.
Probably.
probably both, yeah.
So, you know what's one thing we haven't really done, Elliot? I think we kind of promised this at the beginning and we just haven't done it, is a workout of the week, right? I mean, you've been,
Food prep of the week and workout of the week.
so we got to at least get on one of these things. So I wanted to at least bring my workout of the week challenge here for people to do at home that's listening to this podcast. And I think it's something that people of all skill levels can really challenge themselves with. What I've really found a lot of success on is every minute on the minute or EMOM training. Whenever I want to take a certain skill to the next level, I do as many as I can or a certain fixed number. Every minute on the minute, I set an interval timer, and then when the buzzer goes off, you do another set. So I think that beginners can challenge themselves 5 minutes, intermediate, 10-minute, advanced, 20-minute. Do your favorite body weight exercise. So if you really like push-ups, set a goal for push-ups. Do 10, 20, 25 push-ups on the minute every minute for 5, 10, 20 minutes if you love. I know pull-ups is a very advanced technique, obviously, but that's a great thing to get a little extra skill on. If you're not into any of this stuff and you just want to start to do something fitness-wise, just do some body weight squats, just some air squats. There's something for every skill level out there. Pick something that you really enjoy. And I know you're kind of grimacing over there, Elliot.
Yeah, squats, gross.
Yeah, exactly. But sit-ups, push-ups, squats, is anything body weight, hit it every minute on the minute, and let us know what your results are. That's my challenge for this week.
That's your workout challenge?
That's my every minute on the minute challenge this week, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
You think it's crazy?
Yeah. No, not really. But you should do it.
Yeah.
I would say that mine this week is concentration on time over tension. Okay.
Okay.
And this goes into what I was explaining last week of workouts you could do at home. Time under tension is, I'm sorry, I think I said time over tension. Time under tension is what it is. And that's basically, if you want to do a curl, grab your right hand. If you're going to do a left-handed curl, grab your right hand, slap it on your wrist, and try to use the resistance from your one hand and try to curl it up. And it might sound silly because you're like, well, I'm just going to give into it, right? Try to actually do it and really push and get that effort until you feel that bicep tighten up. And do about, 3 sets, 25 each set. And that, move on to your next workout. Because just like I said, a lot of stuff you could do at home if you don't have time or money for the gym. So that's my thing. Time under tension, wrist grab on the bicep curls, maybe do some slow rolling push-ups, stuff like that. Tricep extensions, you could do what I was explaining with the ski row when you're just, straight up, grab your arms and bring them down and really flex those muscles and tighten them up and bring them down.
Absolutely. Now, Kai, I know we're kind of putting you on the spot here. We didn't give you any warning, but is there anything that you have experienced success with as just like a general practice, even especially for beginners as you were just starting out?
Honestly, I'm gonna keep it simple. I challenge the viewers or the listeners, I should say, to take a walk. Take a half hour to an hour walk. Put some headphones in 3 times in the next week, I would say. I think it's great not only for physical health but also mental health. You clear your head, you really get some great ideas flowing. That's some of my greatest ideas that I have flow. Is I'm just walking, I have some cool music on, and then I'll get a good idea and I write it down. And then at the same time, I'm also having a nice walk in nature and getting a fresh air. I think a lot of people underestimate they're on a treadmill or a bike or doing machines, and they don't really appreciate actually going outside and taking just like a nice stroll. And you actually do burn some calories walking, believe it or not. So
absolutely, it's one of the best things. If you're on the couch right now and you're literally like, I have no idea where to start, I need to start losing some weight, it starts with walking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a fantastic suggestion. And I think this is also a good time to get into an interview with Kai, because he's going to be with us throughout the show here, but I also want to kind of introduce him to the listeners so they understand his background and where he's coming from as we get into some segments further on the show. And I have some questions I want to ask you, and there's some listener questions because I posed that we had you coming on the show this week, and some people got to add us with some interesting questions and thoughts on what you do and stuff. So, obviously you and I go way back now these days.
Yeah.
Kai was actually on my sideline in season 9 of American Ninja Warrior. He was basically my coach. If I had gotten airtime, I think he was going to be listed as like Andrew's coach, because when I was really just first starting out and trying to get good, everyone was like, you got to see Kai. Go to Ninja Lounge, ATP. He's the man for the training. So Kai and I go back a few years now, and he's everything that I know in the sport is because of Kai. But I think it's also interesting because we come from similar backgrounds, because we both were into bodybuilding, and then we kind of made the transition into Ninja Warrior. So I'm kind of curious how that all went. Like I know you're even as far back as tennis and stuff like that, and then into bodybuilding eventually and Ninja Warrior. So what kind of made you make this transition from bodybuilding to American Ninja Warrior training? Was there kind of like this moment where you said, I got to try this?
Okay, so basically I grew up playing tennis from like 8 to 17-ish, and then I transitioned to bodybuilding because I didn't want to play college tennis, and I just wanted to, I guess, look good and be big and strong. I've always liked Dragon Ball Z, so I wanted just to get strong like them.
Speaking of 90s cartoons.
Yeah, right. That was probably my favorite one. So anyways, so I started bodybuilding, and then when I was younger, before tennis, I used to watch, I think before tennis, I used to watch Sasuke, the original version of American Ninja Warrior in Japan. And my family started watching American Ninja Warrior on TV while I was like 17, 18, doing the bodybuilding stuff. And I started recognizing, I'm like, this looks so familiar. And then I eventually realized it was the Japanese version that I used to watch. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And while we were watching, I think my stepdad pointed out, he was like, Kai, I think you would be good at this. You're a good size. They're not, a lot of these athletes aren't super tall, and they're light. You should maybe think of training for it. And I was like, we'll see. And then I think one day I just wanted to learn how to like flip, and at the same time I thought I wanted to start doing Ninja Warrior training. So I just Googled like ninja gym in the area, see if anything popped up. And nothing really popped up except for a parkour gym in Miami called Miami Free Running. And actually JJ Woods, who was on the show, was working there. So when I went to Miami Free Running, I ran into him.
The first gym I ever trained at too. That's hilarious. Yeah.
So at the time, that was literally the only gym, right. And there was literally almost no obstacles. It was just parkour stuff with like some obstacles here and there that JJ would build. So that's where I started, and then I fell in love with it from then on, and yeah, that's pretty much started the entire journey of ninja for me.
Now, I mean, obviously, because we're going to get into it in a little bit, that you're actually opening up your own Ninja Warrior facility, which is amazing. Before even we get into that, because obviously that's changed your life, but I'm curious how the sport of ninja has changed your life in general.
It's a huge part of my life now. Like, I started with just like a small curiosity, and falling in love with it is now I have so many goals. My ultimate goal is obviously to win the show. But yeah, it's become such a huge part of my life. My YouTube channel is pretty much it surrounds Ninja Warrior training and me competing and my journey through Ninja. I have, supporters, and it's changed so much. I have so many people asking me questions on how to train. And so it really is a big part of my life, and I'm just grateful that I found this sport, because I feel like this is the sport I want to do for the rest of my life, or for at least as long as I can.
So the other part of your background here is that you're a vegan athlete, and I know you're very outspoken on this concept. You've done a lot of videos on it, and you have actually transformed my diet in some ways. I'm definitely not a vegan, but I've taken a lot of tendencies from that, because when I met you, I was probably eating animal protein for dinner 5-6 nights a week. That's just when
I remember you asking me
exactly,
in the beginning when we met.
Right, because when you're starting out and lifting, everyone's like chicken.
I got chicken jerky in my book bag right now.
Exactly.
But now I'd say I'm probably more at like 2 or 3 nights a week, and that doesn't sound amazing, but just
it's definitely a step in the right direction, though.
Because you introduce some things that, granted, when I talk about something like tempeh is a great option. To me, tempeh is not as tasty as chicken, but it's good. So if you can, transition 1 or 2 nights a week to veggie burger instead of beef burger, tempeh instead of chicken 1 night a week, you're making a little bit of a difference in that community. Just talk about the general thing that brought you to the vegan community and how important it is to you.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I'm gonna do my best, but there's a lot. It's so crazy. I never, my family would have never guessed I would be vegan. Like, I grew up on the standard American diet. When I played tennis, I only ate pasta because I wanted energy and I loved carbs.
Pasta rage, yes.
I love pasta.
It was always raviolis with Alfredo sauce was like my go-to. So it was like dairy on top of dairy. So I definitely didn't grow up vegan. That's one thing. It was completely opposite. Lunchables, like all that junk.
That's important to note.
Yeah.
Because some people think, he's just always
exactly.
vegan.
Yeah, and I hated vegetables. Like, my mom had to force me. You can ask her. I used to hide them under the rug and then throw them away later. Like, it was really bad.
Hold on. You hid them under the rug?
Yes.
That's an interesting strategy.
When she didn't look, when she wasn't looking, I would take a handful of the green peas and green beans, whatever, and just shove it under the rug. And then my plate would look.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then later that night, I would just take it out of the rug so she wouldn't find it, and then throw it in the trash.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
That's how passionate I was against vegetables.
About not eating vegetables.
Yeah.
Now look at you.
So, anyways, especially when I was bodybuilding right before Ninja, it was literally I think I used to track calories and macros, and some days it was between 300 to 400 grams of protein a day, animal protein. And it was really bad. So then I met this girl who wasn't vegan or anything, but she loved animals. And eventually she started learning about vegetarianism, and she went vegetarian. I'm like, all right, cool. And then one day she wanted to go vegan, and I was like, what's wrong with dairy and eggs? Like, they make it anyways, So I didn't get it, and she didn't really know how to explain it. So I was like, whatever. But I wanted to support her, so whenever we went out to eat, I would order the vegan option with her. And to my surprise, like, it never really tasted like meat, but I don't think I ever liked the taste of meat anyways. I think I just ate it for the protein. And every time I ate like a bean burger, like, I was like, oh wow, this is delicious. I like it. It doesn't taste like meat, but it tasted really good. Eventually, I learned, I saw videos, and I was like, oh, wow, there is a lot of cruelty in this. And I'm like, and I'm not an animal lover either, so it didn't really resonate with me. Like, no one ever would have guessed I would have gone vegan. Like, I never loved going to zoos, riding horses, nothing. I barely liked pets. So eventually, I really liked this girl, though. So I told her, I know you're really passionate, so let me try going vegetarian with you for a month, and then the next month maybe I'll try vegan with you. But if I can't do the salmon ladder anymore, like, because I'm protein deficient, like, I'm gonna go back to meat.
Sure.
So she was like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's do it. So we did it together, and after that month of going vegan, I didn't have anybody to really help me toward the process. We just both knew that we didn't want to eat animals. So we replaced our meat with vegan meat. We replaced our cheese with vegan cheese. And if you don't already know, vegan alternatives are a lot more expensive than their actual meat counterparts. And we didn't know that at the time. Like, we didn't know how we were going to sustain this, because after a month or two, I was like, my gosh, I'm spending so much money on food. And what we realized eventually when we saw a few health documentaries is that whole foods plant-based diet, which is the diet that I'm on now, is actually the cheapest diet. If you think of potatoes, rice, beans, pasta, those are the cheapest things in the supermarket. And if you surround your meals around whole foods and only have mock meats once in a while, then it's actually very, very affordable. But anyways, yeah, that's how it kind of started. And I was watching Forks Over Knives and What the Health really, I really saw how it impacts health as well. And I was like, wow, that's great. I didn't know that. This is actually a really healthy diet. And then I saw some athletes that were vegan. I'm like, oh, okay, so it is possible to be strong as an athlete. Even some Ninja Warriors were vegan. And then I saw Cowspiracy, and that also tackled how meat eating impacts the environment. I was like, this diet is not just for the animals. It's not just for your health. It's for the entire planet, too. So there were so many things that were tackled. And just like a quick side note, growing up like with my friends before I was vegan, when they would litter, I would pick up their trash. Like I was never like an environmentalist, but I always felt bad when I saw people do that, and I would try to recycle and everything. So when I saw Cowspiracy, it really resonated with me. So I was like, once I found out everything, like the animals suffer, the world is suffering, and it's better for your health, I was like, now I just want to scream this on top of a mountain and like let everybody know. And it's a funny meme with new vegans. It's like when vegans find out about this stuff, they start like telling everybody like a madman,
Yeah.
So it's really funny. I went through that phase myself, but that's basically what got me into it.
Okay.
And yeah, now I'm just, if anybody is interested, if anybody wants to learn more, I try to make videos. I try to post on my Instagram helpful stuff that will kind of get them towards a more plant-based diet.
Yeah, share where they can find you.
So on YouTube, it's Street Beast TV. On Instagram, it's The Street Beast. So I post a lot of stuff there, and I tend to not post about animal cruelty. I don't think that's my angle. I think there is people that have a great angle with that. But for me, I like to post more about the health side and the benefits you get as an athlete. I think that resonates with me more, and people, I feel like people listen to athletes more often than not when you talk about plant-based diet than they would like a skinny hippie vegan who's like, don't kill animals,
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I'm a Blazers fan, and Damian Lillard has done a lot with the plant-based diet, and he's one of the best players in the NBA. So, I mean, this has become much more widespread. But I couldn't help but notice, so this is basically the story of a girl. I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
oh my God,
with
that's
a girl.
all I heard out of it was...
I was going to ask, Elliot, what's
Yes.
the craziest thing you've ever done for a girl?
I don't know. I don't do anything for anybody, so...
That's a bad question.
And I just tried it. I did not expect to stay on this. Like, I didn't think this would unfold into such, having it affect so many different things. I was like, wow, I thought like eventually I'll probably eat meat again. I'd be going on and off the diet.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't feel good, and I'd go on a paleo diet or something. I was like, no, like it's much bigger than I ever thought it would be.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that you made that set. Are you guys still together?
No. We're actually still friends, though.
That's good. I had to ask because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, are you guys still together? You just changed your whole diet plan, dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't say you did anything wrong because you're still alive. You're healthy. You're in what you would say is the best shape of your life, correct?
Yeah.
So for you to take that vegan diet is not bad. And it's not like you're pushing it on anyone or forcing anyone to do it. You're raising it. You're doing it the right way by raising awareness of what the health benefits are if you do substitute real meat for a plant-based. I didn't want to say synthetic meat or processed meat. Processed meat is like cold cuts. Which is my issue in life.
Yeah.
But you're doing it the right way. That's all that matters.
He brings up a good point, though, because there are definitely expensive options when it comes to eating healthy. But the veggie burger recipe, one of the first things I ever took from you is I think you linked me to someone's YouTube account who did veggie burgers.
How cheap was that?
I still do it every week. And some of these ingredients were less than $1. Like,
yeah,
it's
crazy.
insane.
If you
What was less than $1? Hold on.
the veggie
zucchini
burger
part,
recipe?
like, yeah, the veggie burger recipe has like the different parts of it that go into it, like the zucchinis,
Yeah, it was like
or onions,
lentils and stuff that were like pennies.
Exactly.
For a serving.
unbelievable
So
how cheap some of these things are.
yeah, if you find out, like, if you look at the supermarket, the cheapest foods in the supermarket are plant-based. You know, if you surround your diet around that and then have some expensive plant-based, like, on the side of it, you know, get some organic kale in the burger as well. Like, the entire salad doesn't have to be kale.
I'm a big vegetable guy, and
Okay.
I love vegetables, but I will say, and I eat a lot of meat too, but I will say the best protein shakes I have ever encountered were plant-based protein shakes.
Oh, okay.
Plant-based whey and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the best because one, besides it does kind of taste disgusting because you'll taste the chocolate and then you'll taste some grass and you're like, okay, this is like eating Hershey's off the ground. And but you got to get used to it, but it doesn't leave you bloated like a regular protein shake would.
Yeah.
So I loved that because like when I was cutting weight, I didn't want to feel bloated.
If you think about it, what is the purpose of dairy?
Well, I have no idea.
Our bodies hate it. I know that.
It's for a baby cow, right?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of human milk for a baby human?
Right.
If you think about it, what really hit me when I first learned about this is dairy is meant to grow a baby cow to 1,000 pound, you know, grown up or a calf into a grown up cow, right? We're not meant for that. And if you look at any other animal, every other species stops drinking milk after infancy. We're the only species that drinks milk after infancy, and we're the only species that drinks milk from another species. That is the most unnatural thing. Like
That's not true. But
Uh-oh.
I'm kidding.
No, okay. I was like, whoa. What is he gonna say now? But yeah, if you think of it, like it's the most unnatural thing, and the person that first told humans that must have been like the best salesman. It's like, hey, you need this liquid from another mammal. It's healthy, and you need it for your bones and everything.
Well,
It's the biggest lie.
I mean, I say to Andrew all the time, I'm like, you know, the only thing I drink is water. You know, occasionally I do dip into those fake beverages, but I say the only thing that Earth has ever made naturally,
yeah,
as far as a beverage, is water.
Yeah, we talked about that
You
last
know,
week. Yeah.
and I understand, like, you know, people say, well, tea as well. I was like, yeah, but still, you have to get the tea leaf, and then you have to break it down and do all this other stuff. Water is literally the only natural thing that's out there.
And even now, it's hard to get, like, you know, there's like alkaline water, there's like different types of water, and you don't even know, like natural spring water. Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Even I struggle with that. Like, there's a lot of different opinions on the type of water you should get and the type of filters you should get. And it's a big rabbit
Yeah, no,
hole
I
to
know. I
go
had one
down.
of those guys like try to sell me those like alkaline converters, and I was like, I don't know. I like my acid water.
Yeah.
I like my Duracell water. You know, it's fine by me.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're going to come back to this because we have some questions from listeners
Definitely.
that they want to ask you, but I like to break things up, keep
Yeah,
things
yeah.
flowing and stuff. So we're going to switch to the wild and wacky. Got to keep things light and fluffy here. So basically, Kai, I know you're first time here. So the wild and wacky is just random news stories from around the world that I find enjoyable.
Okay.
And we kind of comment on them and stuff. And the first one I'm actually going to pass around my paper here because I want to get your guys' best guess on how these names are actually pronounced.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to be pretty funny. So our first story comes from, and the place itself is very difficult to pronounce. It's from Sankadjärvi, Finland, is where this happened, or is where it's reported from. Lithuanian couple defends World Wife Carrying Championship title. A Lithuanian couple won the World Wife Carrying Championship for a second time in a row in the Finnish town of Sankadjärvi on Saturday, triumphing in a contest where men compete on obstacles with their wives slung over their shoulders. Among the 24 contesting couples, I'm not even going to guess on these names because I want you guys to be unbiased and just give me your best guesses here. So this couple came out on top for the second straight year, completing 277 yards of an obstacle course featuring a water trap in 1 minute and 6 seconds while carrying his wife. The Lithuanian couple claimed first place by the slimmest of margins, 1/10 of a second. So I'm going to pass this paper around here. So this is a Lithuanian couple, and they give both of their names. I'm going to circle it here on my paper. I want everyone's best guess on how to pronounce these names.
This is
That's an
gonna be
interesting
tough.
story.
I'm really good at guessing names, though. Do you know the proper pronunciation, though?
Not a clue.
Not a clue.
So-
Nice.
And I'm a professional announcer.
Yeah,
gosh.
for a hockey team too, so you have to deal with these kind of
I've
names.
never seen 17 consonants in a row, but I think this is the closest.
Vitatus
There's gotta be some silence
Kirklaskas is the first one.
Okay.
And the second one is Naringa Kirklaskanianen.
That That is awesome.
All right, Elliot's turn. Let's see this.
I think I nailed that one.
That was pretty good. Nailed it.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I think I'm just going to go Tatis Kirkliauskas.
Sounds pretty confident.
Sounds very Greek,
yeah.
too.
And then Naringa Kirkliauskin.
Okay. Toss me the paperback, homie.
Yeah, here you go.
So we'll come back to those names.
By the way, he's an engineer because I just looked up the name on Google.
Okay, so that's fascinating.
And, well, apparently this guy died in 2008. When did this story come out?
It must be another.
It has to be.
Kyriakis.
That's crazy.
Wow, there's two of them.
Right.
The second.
That is amazing. If I looking at the name now for the first, Vitautas Kirkliauskas would be my guess, and Naringa Kirkliauskian.
Are they a couple, right?
Yeah, it's his wife. It's the wife carrying competition.
She didn't take his last name?
I guess not.
I mean, I guess it was too much for her.
Couldn't change a couple letters?
It's kind of crazy how close they are. The same first 8 letters. Next story. Woman arrested after climbing Mount Rushmore. I had to bring this in with Kaya on the show because it has to do with climbing. From Rapid City, South Dakota, a Nebraska woman has been fined $1,000 for climbing the Mount Rushmore National Memorial in South Dakota. Authorities say Alexandria Incontro scaled the massive granite sculpture Friday with bare feet and no rope, making it to about 15 feet from the top. The Rapid City Journal says Incontro chose a route between George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. I don't know what the best route is, but that sounds good to me. Whose faces are about 60 feet tall. Several signs at the popular tourist destination warn against trespassing or climbing on the sculpture, which was completed in 1941. I'd say that was worth the fine.
I would say so.
What's the toughest thing you've ever climbed, Elliot?
My bed. Kidding, that thing's so high up there.
This is impressive to me, though. No rope, bare feet on Mount Rushmore. You think you could do it, Kai?
No.
No?
Not barefoot. I can't do it. I can't take out the garbage barefoot.
No?
No, I got sensitive skin. I don't know why. I won't break, but it hurts. I'm like, ow.
I bet you that guy took like so much time to prepare for that.
It was a woman, right?
Was it a
It's
guy or a girl?
Alexandria.
Oh, wow.
Woman arrested after climbing Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, she must have. I mean,
I wouldn't
anybody
have
can do
arrested
that.
her,
They
though.
they can't just like do that. Like decide one day to do it. They
To
have
just go
to
climb Mount
They
Rushmore?
have to definitely plan it. Like, have you seen rock climbing documentaries before?
Yeah.
Like they literally plan it for so long before they even attempt it. Then they go in while it's in season to climb. They'll break it into parts. They won't complete it, and then in a year later they'll come back and then probably complete it. Or
So do you think she got away with this multiple times, just like quick climbs, quick tests on Mount Rushmore in the past?
I would think so. I don't know.
Was she high?
That the story did not specify.
Because I mean, I feel like that's like the theme with all these stories. I'm always like, are they high? Like,
I think my favorite part of the story is that she chose a path between Washington and Jefferson. Like, I'm always curious which two would be like the ideal path through Mount Rushmore.
I would definitely
what's the
take
best
Washington.
grade? You take Washington?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
always.
curious like what the easiest grade would be, what the highest grade would be using rock climbing speak.
Yeah, it depends on the hair that they.
And our final story. Hikers call cops after mistaking traffic sounds for wild pig chasing them. 2 lost hikers were left feeling a little sheepish after calling for help over what they thought was an aggressive wild pig chasing them down. In reality, the sound that the pair mistook for vicious grunting and snorting was actually nearby cars going over a rumble strip on the road. According to the department, a woman called 911 from inside Government Canyon State Park around 11:30 p.m. on June 21st, saying that she had climbed a tree to get away from an animal that had been growling and following her. She was ultimately put in touch with a park police officer and urged him to please hurry because an animal she believed to be a wild pig was nearby and growling. Now, again, a reminder that this was just traffic. But my favorite part of the story is it gets into previous bouts of similar stories. Bizarre mix-ups like this one often lead people to call 911 and feel a bit ridiculous after. Earlier this year, deputies in Oregon responded to a report of a possible home invasion after a house sitter said that someone was inside the home's bathroom. The intruder turned out to be a Roomba. And last year, a woman in England called police after she heard sounds that made her suspect a burglar was in her home, but officers found only a rogue squirrel. Has anything like this ever happened to you, Elliot, where you thought you were being chased by something, you thought it was this crazy animal, and turned out to just be an inanimate object or something small?
seaweed.
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 What did you think it was?
A shark. That thing touches your foot, you're out of there.
Okay.
That's my go-to.
Seaweed.
Yeah, that stuff's gross.
It could be scary.
You could eat that stuff too, right?
I think.
Oh yeah, let's test the vegan expert.
Yeah, you can, but certain types, and I think it has to be like washed or something. I don't think you can just eat it
out of the ocean.
Yeah, that would be bad. I think.
No, I'm gonna saute it in some sauce, put it over some meatballs. You know, I mean.
Well, there is seaweed in like supermarkets that is prepared like the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sushi. It's based off of a type of
too.
seaweed,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Well, they also like freeze dry it or something, or do something to make it like chips as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like super salty.
Yeah, I like salty.
So that's wild and wacky as always. Wild and wacky for your entertainment. So I wanted to get back into the interview with Calle and asking some questions that users submitted throughout the week and stuff. So Elena asked, what are the biggest challenges of being a vegan athlete?
Biggest challenges? I would just say it would be in the beginning, learning new habits. I would say after you learn new habits, it's literally like it's the same thing. Like whatever you're used to doing now is pretty much how it feels after like 2 months of being vegan. But yeah, just the initial hump.
Jeff wanted to know, his 6-year-old wants to start training for American Ninja Warrior, and he's asking what's the best way for him to get started.
6-year-old?
Yeah.
Ideally, finding a ninja gym in the area. If you don't have a ninja gym, I would say build something in your backyard, like a small rig, and find someone that knows how to build. And then the third best thing is either rock climb or parkour or gymnastics. Either of those three will lead you in the right direction.
What about, I've always had fun climbing on monkey bars and stuff. I mean, anything that gets them used to climbing probably doesn't hurt.
Yeah, definitely. Any body weight stuff.
Twiggy from Australia, who I gave a shout out to last week on the show, had the question of like, how does a vegan make up the protein deficiency? We talked about this, a little bit earlier on in the show, how you had to get used to that at the beginning and finding the right sources for that.
Yeah. So actually, apparently protein deficiency doesn't really exist. It's more of protein deficiency only happens if you don't eat enough calories. So like, people like in the Holocaust or in Africa where they don't eat enough, that's protein deficiency. But if you're eating enough calories, protein deficiency is like almost impossible. So if you're eating enough calories, you're getting enough protein. Now, if you're an athlete, it's beneficial to have certain amounts of protein. Everybody has their individual needs. So I would say do your own research on what sport you're in and what other athletes consume and kind of play around with it, what makes you feel better. But it's really easy to get protein on a vegan diet. I mean, you can surround your meals with lentils, textured vegetable protein, tofu, nuts and seeds are usually high in protein. There's plant-based protein shakes as well. So nut butters. I mean, there's so many different ways to increase your protein. Whichever one tastes the best, I would say go with that one.
Did you say nutty butter?
Nut butters?
Nutter butters. That's what I heard. Not nut butter, nutter butter.
Nutter butters.
That can't hurt protein, right?
I mean, it's got peanut butter.
Yeah.
And some carbs,
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, and the next question I think is going to be very illustrative of this. My buddy Jared James, who I met on Ninja Warrior also, he's vegan and he is the most ripped dude. Like, he looks like a football player. So, like, I think there's this kind of misconception that if you're a vegan, like, you can't get big enough to where you want to be, can't get strong. And I think this question here is a really good, like, average Joe, unfamiliar with the term type question here. So, Jet Blast out on Twitter he had a couple of questions, but it basically came down to what was the % chance he thought that he was going to break a bone while competing on Ninja Warrior, and also was fatigue ever an issue during training. So but I think the first thing was more because he had also asked, like, did the physician give clearance to him? So I think it's this mindset that, like, somehow a vegan is going to be more susceptible to injury or something, or less capable of doing these load-bearing exercises. Yeah. So when someone asks a question like that, like, do you think you're more likely to break a bone or something like that? How do you respond?
There's actually a study, I don't know it exactly, I could look it up, but I believe the countries with the highest consumption of animal products have the highest rates of hip fractures and lower rates of bone density. So the more you actually the more you go towards a plant-based diet, you actually get a higher bone density and less chances of breaking bones, is my first response. But no, I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions that vegans are weak, skinny, protein deficient.
And he asked about fatigue during training. Have you ever noticed that?
If anything, it went up. Like my recovery, it's almost like everything improved. Like my recovery time in between training increased so much that I can fit more workouts in the week. If you think about it, if you have someone that does 4 workouts a week and someone that does 2 or 3 workouts a week for a year, how much more training have I gotten versus someone who's only doing 2 or 3 times a week because they can't recover fast enough?
True.
So my recovery is the biggest thing that I've noticed. I have so much anti-inflammatory foods that help regenerate my muscles faster, that help me sleep better because sleep is so important for recovery, that I've actually been able to recover so much faster and regenerate and fit in more workouts than I ever have before. There's also a documentary I really want, if people are interested, to look into. It comes out in September. It's called The Game Changers. It is a documentary solely based on vegan athletes. And I mean, there's, I think, the entire Titans football defensive line.
Okay, yeah, defensive line. Yeah.
Linemen,
yeah.
is that what you called?
Yeah.
They all went like plant-based for 1 season or 2 seasons or something, and they had like their best season ever. They talk about that. They talk about Brian, who's that basketball player in the Celtics? Irving?
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving also went vegan as well, and he talks about how it affected his diet. There's bodybuilders now, there's professional swimmers and runners, and they talk about, it's just a documentary on vegan athletes. And I think once this comes out, it's really going to smash all these myths about, oh, vegans are weaker, vegans have to supplement this to be at the same level as their meat counterparts, you know. So I think, and even with the protein, like a lot of people realize that their protein might be too high. When they go vegan, they're like, you know what? I don't even need that much protein. I used to do 400 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Now I'm only, I think, at between 80 and 150. Like, I don't need that much protein. I would rather put my calories into more delicious foods and carbs that don't eat and that don't contribute to fat or anything. Like, I'm still lean. I'm still recovering faster, and then, you know. So it's a lot of misconceptions out there, and I think if you educate yourself the right way, you'll find your answers.
There's always time for protein, though. No, I agree with you, because it's like what I've explained to you before on our first show on what I would do for diets, is that my energy-based source were carbs. Obviously carbohydrates give you the energy, and the only thing I ever ate as far as carbohydrates were fruits and berries, super fruits.
Good.
A lot of the berries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, all those types, because those gave you great energy.
Yeah, berries almost every day.
Yeah, and it was a proper source of carbohydrates, not the starchy kind that soak up all the water that you're consuming. It was one based from water. So there is a lot of misconceptions with veganism. I don't do it personally because I like cheesesteaks, and cheese and steak sounds really good right now. But for someone, and that's why we're doing this podcast too, is to educate you on what you can or cannot or should or shouldn't do.
Options.
Yeah, it's always what you want to do. And you know what? Maybe veganism sounds great to you right now because it's not like, oh, we're doing this because we're saving animals. No, we're giving you an option to maybe say, hey, you know what? I'm going to try a vegan challenge for 30 days.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe this will be a new lifestyle, or maybe I can be partially vegan or vegetarian, pescatarian, where you eat only fish and vegetables, which is what I mainly was.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that, honestly. I know a lot of vegans out there are very militant, and they're like, you go vegan or you don't. They get mad at you for it's a very touchy subject. And for me personally, if when Andrew told me he was eating more plant-based proteins, I'm like, good. Like, I'm happy. I'm generally happy when people tell me, like, I'm not vegan, but I'm eating more plant-based. I'm like, that is great. That is helping the animals. It's helping the planet. It's helping their health. And I think that it's definitely a step in the right direction. And I'm happy with that. So.
I've always believed, whether it's fitness, whether it's diet, whether any aspect of life, I'm a big believer in taking influence from a lot of different areas. I hate cutting out entire food groups. I hate cutting out entire brands of exercise, entire muscle groups, and so the two things that really appeal to me from the vegan community and what ends up happening from the diet is one, I agree 100% that inflammation is one of the worst things for the human body. Sickness, all sorts of problems with your health, a lot of it comes from inflammation in the body. Vegan is very anti-inflammatory. The second thing I'm a very big believer in is gut health. I think that so much of our health originates in our gut, and I take probiotics and stuff like that, but also a lot of vegan products happen to be very good in fiber and stuff that are going to keep you regular, keep things moving, and just keep the gut health in check. I think those are two really important concepts to take away. Now, one thing I want to get your opinion real quick, because I know we're going to bring in someone eventually down the road who actually likes keto. I know you don't like keto. I don't like keto. And you tried keto, which I think I want to hear from you right now on, because I heard about this story, but I want you to explain to people that you actually did a vegan keto diet. And I want to know how you felt on it and your opinions of that concept in general.
Yeah, definitely. I think keto is just another fad diet, just like Atkins, just like paleo. Now it's keto. Next year it'll be something else, you know. It's really just repackaged Atkins, really. You know, it's just higher fat than Atkins. But there is a way to do it vegan. When I found out, I was like, well, I might as well do it and let people know that you can do it plant-based if you really wanted to. It's definitely harder, but I was able to do it. I only did it for 3 weeks. I think actually I was like 2 days away from 3 weeks, and I was like, no, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. That's awesome. I felt so bad. I had no energy. People will definitely say that I wasn't adapted yet. I had to go longer, which I agree. I think maybe if I went longer, I could have eventually felt better.
They call it the ketosis flu. Yeah.
Well, I did go through that the first few days. After that, I felt better, and I didn't have the flu anymore. Because the first 4, I think, days, I was dying. I was just headaches, stomach aches. Like I felt I was going to die. It was really bad. Then it went away, and then I felt good. Like I felt normal. But when I worked out, I fatigued so ridiculously fast. Like it was so crazy. My forearms, when I started rock climbing, was pumping like out so much. I was literally fatiguing while I was gripping the hold, and I was like, "What is going on? It's only been like 5 minutes." Like it was so bad. So I felt terrible like that in that sense. I think I passed keto flu. I was also taking ketones to help me get into ketosis faster, and I was testing it, and I was in ketosis. Didn't like it. The food was okay, but I really have a taste for sweetness, and I was really missing that taste. I was happy that I was able to eat jars of nut butters at a time, which was because I love the peanut butter, almond butter. Like I just love it. Chocolate.
Fruit snacks.
I was able to do it, but I was sweetening it with stevia, and I was like, this is not the same as dates or agave or what I usually do. But anyways, I digress. Basically, I didn't like it. But I did document the whole thing so that if people do want to do keto, I'm like, you can do it more plant-based. You don't have to eat eggs and butter and bacon. Like you can do it with avocados, plant-based yogurts made from almonds. You can do it with plant-based milks. You can do it with a ton of vegetables that have fiber, so you don't have to get so much carbs. Like there is a way to do it plant-based, and I did a few. I documented the whole thing on my YouTube channel. It's called the Keto Plant Strong series. If you guys want to do it. After I went out of ketosis, I felt really bad. It actually ruined my gut health. It took me months to fix. I went to multiple gastroenterologists because before keto, my gut was fine. I could eat whatever I want. I could eat vegan junk food. I could eat healthy vegan food, and I would be fine. After that, I was bloating with beans, bloating with everything, and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm never doing keto again. That's for sure. I don't recommend anybody do it, but if you're already on keto, then now I can recommend what foods you can eat when you're on keto that will reduce the amount of animal products.
So it was more educational for you in a lot of ways. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like I know a very specific few people who have had success and continue to have success on keto. Yeah, I have friends who've lost over 100 pounds on keto.
Sorry,
but what was their starting weight? That was the thing.
That's one side.
That's one. Weight loss doesn't mean it's a healthy diet. You can. You can. There was a guy on YouTube who lost weight and got ripped on McDonald's. If you count macros and calories correctly, you can lose weight and get ripped on McDonald's. So weight loss does not equal health.
True. Did a 6-piece Happy Meal with extra apples? That's gonna get you ripped.
Exactly.
And I'm serious because I mean the whole no running diet that I did, I love.
If it fits your macros on bodybuilding YouTube, like they eat Cheerios, they're like, oh, it fits my macros, I'm getting ripped. Like they're not healthy. The bodybuilders look great, but they're not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, look at The Rock's carb load day. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's pancakes with whipped cream and all this syrup, and he eats like 30 pancakes.
But he looks amazing.
Yeah, and then he like folds a pizza on top of the pancake and he shoves it in his mouth.
Yeah, you can.
And I'm like, dude, what are you doing to your body?
Yeah. Granted, 100%. There are a lot of benefits though if you're 300 pounds getting down to 200 pounds. Your heart gets healthier.
Yes.
There's a lot of, and maybe at that point you can then make some changes. But yeah, I was gonna say, keto to me only makes sense, and again, only in limited fashion, if you're not athletic. So if you say, hey, I can't work out, I have an injury, I just don't want to, I'm never the type who's going to go to the gym, keto might work in the sense that you can survive without that energy. But like you said, if you're an athlete, if you want to get into better shape by doing any sort of exercise, there's no energy there. Your brain doesn't have energy because your brain wants carbs. Every part of your body needs carbs to flourish and actually perform at its peak. You can't do that on keto. But I want to debut a segment here this week because we have two hosts aside from me, so I think this is the perfect time to introduce Host Feud. Instead of Family Feud, it's going to be Host Feud. I'm going to ask you guys, I have two questions here. It's Family Feud style. It's, name something you'd see somewhere, and your buzzer is you saying your name into the microphone. So whoever's name I hear first, that's who buzzed in first. You get credit.
I hate my name, dude.
You want a different name?
Nah, I'll go with my name.
You're more than welcome to say Batman if you want. I don't care.
Ooh, I do like Batman.
I'm gonna lose. I'm so bad at this stuff.
So we need the music, right? The theme song, the Family Feud. We'll get that in post-production. The question is, are you guys ready, though?
Go for it.
I'm ready.
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. So your first question is, name something a school bus driver would hate to see a kid throw out the window.
Buzz.
Elliot.
Batteries.
That's an X. That's not on the board.
It's not on the board?
No, not.
How many people did you survey?
Well, I believe it's 100. The entire.
There was a kid on my bus that threw a battery out of somebody's car and got arrested.
It's not on the board.
Oh, jeez. Screw this game.
Kai, you're up.
Oh man. Spitball.
You know what? I think I can give you.
Give him the answer. Jeez.
One of the answers is trash, and to me, spitball is in the realm of trash. So we're gonna give Kai the point there for
right.
trash.
What about used batteries? That's trash.
I was wondering if
you're gonna have to get off this battery kick, Elliot. But it is your turn. So
Darn it.
we still have. That was the number 3 answer on the board. 15 people said trash. We have 1, 2, 4, and 5 still on the board.
Okay, so there's 5 possible answers.
Name
trash.
something a school bus driver would hate to see a kid throw out the window.
Food.
Oh man, I was
Food
gonna
is
say
on the board. Yeah, lunchbox / food is number
Dang
4. That's 12 points. So Kai is up by 3, but it's really close now.
Oh,
so
man.
1, 2, and 5 are on the board for Kai.
I don't know, clothes.
Clothes is incorrect.
Clothing
That's an
items.
X.
I don't know, hats.
That's an X.
That's
Elliot, back over to you.
That's a backdoor special going on if someone's throwing clothes.
I didn't mean it like that, but I can see how now people
The
think.
top 2 answers are still on the board.
Top 2 answers are still on the board. What would a bus driver hate to see someone throw out the window?
Throw out the window.
Another kid.
That is number 2, yes.
Yes.
What?
Another kid is number 2 on the board. 17 people said that. Elliot takes the lead. I think that's the funniest visual to me, though. Kid just
Right,
chucks the
that's
kid
just
out the window.
Get out.
That's a strong kid.
Yeah.
Kai, the number 1 answer is still on the board along with the number 5 answer. Think about going to school. What might people have?
Homework?
It's close, but I'm going to say no cigar
Okay.
on this one.
I was like, isn't that trash?
Yeah, I know. Homework is trash.
Okay, so we got the number 1 answer up there. I would say a rock. I'm going to go with some kind of hard object. A rock.
It's a hard object, but it's not a rock.
Oh, jeez. The rock?
Yes, the rock.
The Rock.
Coming up on 3 strikes here, guys. You got to get it right here. Number 1 answer, what do kids have? What do you carry around at school? The number 1 answer was books, all right?
Oh, a book?
A book.
That's trash. Goes in the category of trash.
All right, so Elliot managed to win the first round.
I'll take it.
29-15. We have one more question if you guys are ready.
Go for it.
Name a word. Again, you guys have to buzz in at the beginning. Name a word polite people use instead of cursing.
Buzz.
Calle.
Shoot.
Shoot is up there. That's the number 2 answer. Elliot.
Fudge?
Fudge is up there. That's the number 4 answer. You guys are doing much better on this. You know your curse words.
Yeah, I'm
Or your
in
fake
radio.
curse words. Exactly. Kaia, back over to you.
I have the German one. I think that's is Scheiße a bad word?
It's not. It's not up there.
I used to say that.
Oh, Scheißer.
Back over to you, Elliot.
Okay, I'm gonna go with gosh darn it.
Darn is the number 1 answer. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's 48 points. That's going to be tough to beat. But we still have 2 answers. Number 3 and number 5 are on the board.
Dang it.
Dang is number 3. You guys are killing it on this one. Wow.
And we curse a lot.
Yeah. and apparently you're around children or something, or on radio, so you have to know how to say it.
Yeah, my son, he doesn't care if I curse.
1 answer left on the board.
Let's see.
Can you sweep the board?
Yeah, wimpy.
Whippy?
Yeah.
What is that instead of?
Well, what would you think it's instead of?
Kaia, back over to you.
Innocent man over here.
We already got all the good ones.
Yeah, this is the number 5 answer, but I think it's
it's
relevant.
number 5.
Yeah, I think it's relevant.
Ship.
No, but you're getting warmer.
Oh. Poop.
No.
Well, you said ship, and then you said getting warmer, so.
I just want everyone out there to know in case it comes
boat?
across harshly. It's ship with a P.
Yeah.
That was said on air here.
Sorry, I'll pronounce better.
Yeah, enunciate.
I heard
Come
both
on.
of you guys, and
It's
I
a
was like,
podcast. It's okay.
Let's yeah.
Is freaking a bad word?
That's not on there, but that's a decent guess. All right, one more guess each.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. I pass on this one.
You're out.
I
All
can't. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm
Last
out.
guess?
I
All
don't
right,
know.
It was sugar.
Sugar. Who the hell
What?
says that?
Oh heck!
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
not
really
on
good.
there?
That's not on there.
No, is hell
sugar
a bad word?
That not really. I think it's to certain people. I
Like
think hell's a
like
bad
when
word.
you were
It's a
6.
bad place.
When you were 6, you'd be like HE double hockey sticks,
Right,
you know.
right.
But
So Elliot takes the first ever competition, but you guys did really well on that second question. That was pretty good there. So we had a couple of other user submitted questions, but these weren't just for Kai. These are more like roundtable discussion type things. David asked on Instagram last week, the best way to stay in shape as you reach your 40s. He's like talking about like as you're aging, like what's the best way to stay in shape. Now I thought this is interesting because none of us are anywhere near that age, but I think all of us hope to be athletes as we age and continue to go in that direction. So I think this is a very important question. There are a lot of people out there who are in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, you know, and they want to get healthy and they want to stay healthy. I did a little bit of research on this topic here. And I think one of the things that I found was that you can't jump into anything. So it was basically saying like if you're hitting your 40s and stuff and someone invites you to a soccer game and you've never played soccer before, don't just go play a soccer game. Build things gradually when you're out of shape or when you're trying to maintain a shape, because these things don't work. It's just natural fact. You start to lose muscle as you age. More fat sticks to you, so there are things that happen as you age. Basically no extremes, right? So, I mean, you just don't jump into benching 300 pounds if you haven't benched before. Be smart.
don't go skateboarding.
That's a very good piece of advice there. And also, it's important to recover. I know you're a big believer, Akai, in recovery. As you age, it's even more important. You can't just work out every single day because you can get in a lot of trouble that way. And I also think that it's really important to do low-impact stuff. We've talked about this with injuries and stuff, but your joints and your muscles, a bigger toll is taken as you age. So you have to, it almost comes down to working out smarter. People say, don't work out harder, work out smarter. That's especially true as you're aging. So as you're hitting your 40s and your 50s here, do some more low impact stuff. Do the elliptical machine. Don't go running on concrete on bad shoes and mess up your knees, So keep things low impact. But it's still important to maintain strength because you can lose muscle at that age. So I'm a firm believer in doing moderate strength training. Don't do 300 pounds on the bench press, but move some weight. Because as you're giving yourself weight bearing activities, that's going to enable you to keep up your strength and muscle, which is even more important as you age.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
I know it's a tough subject though for us because we don't.
Yeah.
I preface it by saying we don't have this experience.
Exactly.
All we can
Yeah.
do is give our experience. I'm 30, and I think I'm the oldest one here. which is crazy. I know, but
Gosh.
I noticed differences. Like from when I was 20, like when I was 18, 20 years old, like and I went out and played soccer, nothing hurt. Like that's just how it happens. Now I'm still in an adult soccer league. Like it's not always the same. Like you go out there, you might tweak something while you're out there. The next day your legs hurt. The next day your back hurts. I mean, you have to be smarter. I know one of the people, the commissioner of the soccer league, says the biggest difference between me now, and he's in his mid-30s, so he's closer to that point, and me as a youth, is that now I can't play soccer without Tylenol. So that's what he always tells us. So there's differences.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm not that age, but I would say the biggest advice I would have is environment. Surround yourself with people that are healthy, and gain information from them, and ask people who are images of what you want to be when you're that age. If you find someone in their 50s that is really healthy, like surround yourself with people around that. Join a fitness club or a gym that has that type of environment, so you can learn from other people what they do, what they do to stay healthy. I think important is obviously learning how to eat a better diet, learning how to get good sleep, meditation or your form of meditation, because I know not everybody likes meditating, but any type of stress reliever, I think stress is a huge thing. So how do you reduce stress? So I just think, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, or people that you want to be like, surrounding yourself with them is the best advice I have.
For sure. Elliot.
As far as me, because I'm getting old, I'm turning 28 next week.
Oh,
but
no.
Yeah. Oh. But my biggest thing is because, I just injured myself. So the thing I want to stress is stretch. Okay?
Yeah.
Please stretch. Okay? And do yoga or Pilates, because, yoga is great for your mental health as well. And it's also going to stretch your body to its full capacity. And you're going to need that when you're older. You're going to want to stretch that body and make sure that you're as fluid and the blood flow, continues to go as smooth as it was when you were younger. Because as you get older, you deteriorate, like an old Yankees cap or something. And you want to do as much as you can to keep up with this. So besides, the obvious answer of dieting, I think stretching is the biggest thing, because I just tore my hamstring, and the thing that the doctor stressed to me is you're going to have to stretch this thing out every single day, because you're more susceptible to re-injuring it and re-tearing it. I'm like, really? Now I'm scared to run ever again. But I'm still going to run, and I'll probably tear it again, and I'll probably have to do more stretches.
I think this is a great jumping off point here to talk to Calle again about one thing that happened to him. And I think it's interesting because now all three of us at this table here have suffered a significant injury in the past year or even less.
Me, it's every moment. I'm a big injury table.
But you just had your hamstring tear. I split open my finger and had stitches a couple of months ago. And Calle had, I want you to talk about an injury and also everything that kind of went into it in terms of recovery, because you tried to come back a little soon and you had some issues here. So I think this is a really good topic, talking about injuries, how to work out through injuries, but also how not to push at the wrong times through injuries.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge learning experience in my life. I back in November of last year, I was training, and I tend to be very loosely about safety when I train. I've never had a huge injury before, so I was doing this obstacle called the wing nuts.
Now, let's just preface this by saying the wing nuts should have never been invented. They should be removed from society. This is the obstacle that took me out on the show, and this is the obstacle that injured Kai. So clearly there's something wrong here with these things. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with the sport, it's basically swinging your body side to side and launching yourself. We call it a lache in Ninja Warrior. So it's basically a big sideways movement through the air.
Correct. While I was in the air, I was training with gloves, which I never really do, but my skin was hurting, so I put them on. As soon as I caught the next wing nut with my hands, I was 12 feet from the ground, and I slipped because the gloves were more slick than my skin. I had bad mat placement. I was using a very small mat for what I was doing, and I actually missed the mat, and I fell on the hard floor. And that impact fractured my scaphoid bone, which is the bone between my hand and my wrist. So pretty much my wrist I broke. It's a really hard bone to heal because apparently it doesn't have much blood flow to there, so it's a very tricky bone to heal that I found out. I was very adamant on trying to get back as quickly as possible. The show was coming up in a few months, and I wanted to be ready for it. So without the doctor's permission, and I think in January, I decided to I had surgery, by the way. I had a screw placed in there. And the way he described it, he made it seem like it was, it was going to heal. And I decided to go against his orders of waiting more until he cleared me, and I started training to get ready for the show and competing in other leagues to also get ready for the show. I did that for about a month, came back to him, and took x-rays, and he told me it got significantly worse. You might need another surgery if you keep doing this, and this other surgery is very risky, and if it fails, then you could potentially have more problems to the hand. Like he was like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, he got me really scared. At that moment is when I realized that I really need to stop, because I was really pushing it, and I need my hands for what I do. So at that point, I told myself, I had a removable brace that he gave me because the screw in my bone stabilized the bone really well for it to heal. I didn't need a cast, but I told him, like, look, I don't trust myself. I know how obsessed I am with training that you need to put me in a cast.
I've never heard anyone request a cast.
No,
before.
yeah, I told him, like, put me in a cast. And even with my cast, like, I was training other people, and sometimes I would forget, and then I would grab something. I was like, no, and the cast actually reminded me, like, no, stop grabbing stuff, So I really did need that cast. Like, my self-control is so bad when it comes to training. And it was hard. Like, I got slightly depressed. I gained weight. I was binge eating a lot. Like, there was a lot of things that I was going through, and I was still healing from the ketogenic diet, from the gastro problems I had. So there was a lot going on. I learned a lot. Finally, my bone actually did heal. Who would have thought? Resting it actually works. So it healed, I think, about a month and a half ago, I believe, was when I was finally cleared to start training again. So I've been training, and I've been also, in that time of healing, I did read a lot of books, including one called The TB12 Method. I don't know if you know about this book. I highly recommend this book.
That's Tom Brady's book.
Yes. Yeah. Tom Brady, 12 is the number on his jersey.
Wears. Yep.
It was funny. I actually wanted to touch on this topic when you were talking about stretching. Is Tom Brady's approach to I think he's 40.
He's going to be 41.
42, right? Or 41
41, 42.
Something like that.
He's old.
So he's old. And one thing that really resonated with me, why I read this book, is the intro when he laid out that he was in his 40s. He's been a professional QB for 20 years, and he's been winning. Like, he's peaking right now. He's only been injured like once for half a season. That's very rare in NFL.
Very contact.
Very rare. Like, I think the average career is like 3 to 4 years, and then they get injured or burnt out. And Tom Brady's been doing it for 20, and he's still at his prime at 40 years old. So I was like, okay, obviously he's doing something right. So he started talking about something that he coined called pliability. So he talks about how every NFL player, trains really hard. They get massages, they do ice baths, all this stuff, destroy their bodies and do the same. They have the same routine. And Tom Brady did the same thing. He had terrible, I think, tendonitis and terrible shoulder pains that he got massages and chiropractors and ice it and everything. But he's like, eventually this is going to give out. Found this guy who was into the certain method called pliability, fixed his arm, and within a month he had no pain anymore. And so now he tributes his long-term success for pliability. And pliability, in summary, is basically a very specific way to massage muscles and manipulate your muscles in a way where it lengthens and it learns to stay lengthened and soft. Whereas if you just stretch or if you just get a massage, it lengthens it for a second, but your muscles don't learn to stay like that. So he does that before and after. I learned that from him. And on top of that, what's funny is that he says that he's on a 90% plant-based diet, which was also surprising. I thought he was going to be like, oh, I'm on a paleo, high meat, protein diet. It was like, but no, he eats very similar to the way I eat. He's not ethically inclined, so that's why he does it when he's in season. He's very plant-based, and then, he'll have a steak or a burger when he feels like cheating or whatever. Sure. Same thing with me, but since I'm ethically inclined, I'll eat a vegan burger or a vegan steak or whatever,
right.
Anyways, I digress. But anyways, I would highly recommend TB12, especially if you're in your 40s. He talks about, he's someone in his 40s. He talks about, this isn't just for athletes. This is just for also the everyday person that wants to be fit for their kids and just, live a more injury-free life. So, but yeah, that was basically my journey through breaking my bone.
I think that's good advice, though, for a lot of people to take, is that you can't fight these injuries. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate when they happen, but, they happen.
Yeah, listen to your doctor. Don't risk it.
Yes.
Yeah. Listen to your doctor and your body.
I have so many more injuries because I never listened to my doctor. Like, I shattered my ankle once, and the doctor was like, listen, you have to keep stretching your ankle in a position upwards. And I'm like, yeah, what do you know? I'm 18 years old. What would you know? And now my ankle is not even set into my bones properly.
Wow.
So I have like a dangly ankle.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so safety first. That definitely learn. I will never do any obstacle again without the proper use of mats, the size of mat.
Ninja's a dangerous sport, for sure.
It really is, and I took it for granted, and I unfortunately learned the hard way, and I recommend that everybody does not learn the hard way and just listen and be safe.
For sure. So we got a couple more things to get into before we get off the air here today. We definitely pride ourselves on being a general health and wellness show that really gives a lot of credence to mental health, that you can be as strong as you want to be, you can be fit, you can eat well, your body can be a machine, but if your head isn't in the right place, nothing really matters. Mental health is a very underrated and underappreciated thing, and when you have bad mental health, that's when you realize that, hey, like, this is a really serious issue. So I found a Bustle article that gave their tips on how to better your mental health, things that you can do, and then I want to kind of open it up to discussion on the topic here. But Bustle gave their mental health tips, and they said, get outside, unplug, which obviously means, get off your phone every now and then, practice gratitude, so even if things are bad in your life, remember what's good and be thankful for it. Sleep 7 to 9 hours a night is what they said. I know not everyone has the time to do that, but make as much time as you can, because sleep is critical for so many things. Meditation, less restrictive eating is one thing they said, because people can actually screw up their mental health by putting too much pressure on themselves to eat restrictively. So I thought that was interesting. And then actually the last thing they said was stand by your decisions. So I thought that was another interesting thing here. So going forward, because we're going to have a lot of guests on the show, Kai is our first, but I want to make sure that we ask before we let any guests get off the show what their mental health approach is, because I've always said there's a lot of people listening to the show who are sad, something's not right, and they're just trying to make it from day to day with the right attitude and trying to find something to hold on to and to be positive about. And if we can help one single person ever, not even just on 1 week of this show, but ever feel better about themselves, find some measure of happiness, that would be the best thing I could ever take from this show. So because of that, I want to ask every single guest we have on what they do for better mental health, because not everything that I do is going to help that listener. Not everything Elliot does is going to help that listener. But hopefully, as we take from every single person who comes on this show another tip, another thing that they do, that might just be the one thing that resonates powerfully with somebody listening who needs it most. So Kai, I know I didn't tell you this was coming, but I want you to think about it. And if you need a second, it's totally cool. But when you think about it and you think about your mental health and things you do that just make Kaye happy, what makes Kaye go in your mind? Like, what are some things that you've done even now or over the years that just makes you happy, makes you grateful to be alive, things that really just that put you in a positive mindset?
I would say doing things that make you happy. So, be selfish sometimes. If running makes you happy, do that. Like, don't do like yoga if it doesn't make you happy. Like, not everybody likes yoga. Sometimes running is a form of yoga. For you, because it's a stress reliever. So, find time to do something that makes you happy. If you like basketball, do that. If you don't like lifting weights, don't do it. Do something else. So find time. maybe once or twice a week to do something that makes you happy. Like me personally, I love ninja training. I'm fortunate to be able to do that every day, and that's a stress reliever for me. You know, I'm not the biggest. I don't like meditating. My own form of meditating is walks with headphones and listening to Eminem. You
Sure,
know,
I mean,
like
I've been there too. Yeah.
That's my meditation. So find your form of meditation. Meditation doesn't have to be you in a yoga position and, you know, closing your eyes and saying or whatever.
Sure.
You know, like do whatever makes you happy. Like find your space, whether it's in the shower or walking or whatever you want to do. I think having alone time and really, you know, having your time to do something that you want to do once, twice a week, if possible, then I think that is great for your mental health.
Is there even anything outside of the fitness world that you've found? Because I even talked about this on the show in previous weeks. I'm just like, if there's a game, if you like Pokemon Go, if you like something Harry Potter, it doesn't matter what other people think. If playing a game makes you happier, that's the greatest thing. So that's why I open it up for like if there's anything you would tell people that you enjoy, even outside of fitness, that you think works.
My routine they're like massage tools. Like I have foam rollers. They vibrate. I know every time I explain this, people always make fun of me. I'm like, I don't know how to explain this without making it sound weird. But I have foam rollers that vibrate. Whatever. They're like the pliability tools and whatever. And after I go through my morning routine, you know, I feel loose. I feel great. It's a great way to start the day. For me, you know, doing different massage techniques and stuff like that to start my day usually makes me like start my day off well, and I just feel great.
So we're gonna get out of here in just a second, but you know, Kai, again, thank you so much for being on here. Before we go off, though, I know you gave your social media accounts and stuff like that, but also get into a little bit real quick about your ninja gym that's opening and expected time frames and where it's located and how people can come train with the great Kai Alexander.
Yeah, so it's been a big project. It's finally coming along. It's in Miramar, Florida. It's called Ninja Street Obstacle Academy. Right now we're going through inspection, so the official open date is not yet released. But based on everything that I know now, it looks like we could be open in mid-August or end of August. So hopefully that happens. But you know, you never know. Some things could happen. But yeah, it's gonna be a Ninja Warrior training facility for kids, for adults, beginners, advanced. There's gonna be stuff for everybody there. Birthday parties, privates. There's gonna be an organic plant-based cafe with smoothies, protein shakes. We're gonna stick with those kind of stuff at first. We might add some sandwiches later or something like that. But for now, it's just gonna be like for, you know, post and pre-workout kind of like food or whatever.
And I just want to throw in real quick, Kai, trust this man's cooking, because I know some of these things seem like crazy recipes and stuff, but I edited his ebook and he gave me a copy, and I've tried so many of the recipes that and they've been game changers, a lot of them.
Yeah,
so,
tell him about the cookie dough.
Oh man, so there's a cookie dough. And it's chickpea based. This is literally made from chickpeas. You say that, but it tastes like peanut butter cookie dough.
It's so crazy.
I don't need anything else. Like it is amazing how good it comes out. You put in a lot of peanut butter into this creation.
Yeah.
But the base is so healthy. It's made from legit chickpeas.
Yeah, people are eating beans and they think they're eating like cookie dough. So
exactly, and you put in cocoa nibs, and it gives you a little bit of that chocolate.
So
it's crazy.
It's gonna be mostly ice cream. I'm known for making like a protein ice cream. So
I've had some very good.
Gonna have those, and then just like smoothie bowls. You know, so with some granola and berries on top, stuff like that is gonna be the main thing there. But yeah, that's just like kind of like a side thing, that benefit of being there as well. Obviously, a lot of ninja training. It's going to be 2 separate courses, too. Like some training facilities have only 1 course. That's for all the adults and the kids. Mine's going to be separated. 1 course for the kids, and then a separate section for the adults, so we can kind of separate them.
Very cool. So the last thing that we love to do on this show here is we call it Spreadin' Some Love. Every week we kind of just call out people in our lives that are doing good things, and because, you know, we like to practice what we preach on this show. We talk about spreading love, not hate. But if we're not actually doing it, you know, it's no good. So in previous weeks, last week you would have loved this one. My friend in Australia went from a year or 2 ago just being totally out of shape, not even really interested in fitness. He bought my Ninja Voice shirt, nice. And he's now in ninja competitions in Australia. So
wow, that's awesome.
He's made amazing progress, and I'm so proud of him. So each week we kind of just like to shout out some people who, even if you're seeing someone on social media who's just starting to work out, these are great things. So this week I actually want to keep it close to home. I want to shout out my girlfriend Beth, who has had a lot more hours at work. She's working really hard, and she's still finding time to get to the gym with me and train, which is not an easy thing to do. When you're tired and you're putting in more hours at work, it's not easy to say, hey, I'm going to come home and I'm going to get a workout in before I eat. So, Beth, I'm very proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. And my second spreading some love has to go to the man right in the studio here, Calle. This is a man who has taught me everything I know about both Ninja and about a lot of differences in diet and stuff like that with the vegan influence, which has really helped me make some changes. But I'm mostly proud because he's followed his dreams and he's doing something that not a lot of people can say that they've done. And that's, he had a goal. He knows what he wants to do for his career, and he actually went out and did it. It's not easy to open up your own business, let alone an actual ninja gym. These are very difficult creations to make. So he took the chance. You know, he's been a ninja coach at different Ninja Warrior facilities around South Florida, and he said, you know, it's time for me to do what I want to do on my own. I know that he's so good at this that I'm not even worried. Like, I'm going to come train at his place, and I don't even have to worry about what the obstacles are going to be, because I know that he knows what he's doing, and he's going to put in things that are going to help me become a better Ninja Warrior, a better athlete. And I know that smoothie section in that area of food is going to be delicious and super healthy. It's not even a concern for me. So, Calle, man, I'm really proud of you, bro, and keep chasing those dreams.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate those kind words.
Definitely.
Really means a lot.
Definitely, man. I'm proud of you. So, Elliot, do you have anyone you want to shout out this week?
I'm going to shout out Peter Leone. Wasn't a close friend of mine. It was my son's mother's friend more than anything, but he recently passed away as of yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he struggled with weight. He even had a gastric bypass and lost a ton of weight, but ended up gaining it back because, you know, just some folks, you know, they can't control, and you know, it's a bad turn for them sometimes, and food sometimes can be a comforting thing for you. He was in the hospital, and a lot of people didn't sign his get well card because they were upset with his lifestyle, the way he lived. You know, losing the weight and then just gaining it back. They felt, you know, him as a weak person, almost as if you're criticizing someone for committing suicide. I would say, for telling them, you know, you're a weak person. I don't forgive you, and I think that's a bad approach. You know, he tried to do what he needed to do to lose weight and be healthy. Unfortunately, it just couldn't work out for him. But I don't think that anyone should ever disown or not feel the need for someone to say, hey, you need to get better. You know, no matter what you do, right? I mean, even on my stance for suicide, you know, I do feel that it's your choice if you want to do it. I don't condone it. I wish we could get you help to keep you living, but sometimes that does make people happier. And I don't believe in that personally, but you should always give yourself or give someone that hand to let them know, hey, I'm here for you. You don't have to do this. You don't have to eat yourself away or commit suicide because you feel like you're alone. And just a gesture of signing a card, it's ink on paper. You sign receipts for whatever you buy, or you sign your tip to the waitress. How hard is it to say get well soon?
Yeah.
Whether you mean it or not. The person on the other end could be like, this person took the time and said get well soon. So it's showing the initiative of realizing that there are people in the world that are trying.
Yeah. That's good. Kai, is there anyone you want to shout out today?
Yeah, I'll shout out my buddy Lucas Gomez.
Brazzy bro.
Yeah, he recently just had a baby.
Yes.
He's a father for the first time. He's my age, is a young father, but he is a great father. He's been married for a few years now, and he's very inspirational. He's still found time to call me and ask me how I'm doing with my gym and everything, and he's just a really inspirational guy. He's a great person. I try to be a better person like he is, and he inspires me, and he's doing so many great things and with his social media, with, you know, just him being him and spreading his love for everybody. So, yeah, I want to shout him out, and I wish him the best of luck with his baby. I don't think he needs it. He's going to be a great father.
Absolutely, yeah. The Brazzy Bros, for anyone who doesn't know, contestants on Ninja Warrior, fantastic athletes, great guys, as you said. They were a couple of guys who I got to train with, and a story that I've told a few times is that Alexio actually found me on the course right before my run when I went in my only year, and he saw how nervous I was, and he calmed me down. Like, he was probably
Nice.
5 away, and I was 2 away, and he still took the time to do this mental health like exercise with me to make sure I was calm
sounds just like them.
and ready to go. And I'll always reference it back to this story. Lucas, on the other hand, was the only person I heard during my entire run on the course, is because I was in complete tunnel vision the entire time that I was on the course, and I didn't hear a single thing. I didn't hear friends and family cheering for me. The only thing I heard the entire time I was on the course was on the wingnuts. Those damn wingnuts. Lucas said, "Straighten your arms, bro," as I was on the wingnuts. And that was the only thing that cut through all the silence that I heard. And
Nice.
and I heard that, and I straightened my arms, and it got me a lot closer to getting through that crazy obstacle. So the Brazzi Bros definitely stand-up quality guys, and we definitely wish them well in Lucas's new family adventure.
Nice.
All right, guys. So for Elliot Brownstein and our guest host this week, Kai Alexander, I'm Andrew Ember. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the No Name Fit Game. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.